Good afternoon, it's Ann Katzoff of Ask Design. Today I'll be talking about overlapping columns with the WordPress media and text block. This block creates two columns where text can be placed on either side of an image or a video. It's quick, easy, and quite versatile. The block's name is a bit misleading, as the, quote, text column can actually contain any kind of content, not just text. In this tutorial, we'll explore how to use this core block's basic offerings to build a dynamic layout with overlapping columns. Plus, with a little bit of additional CSS, you can put the overlapping text inside a container that has a background color. And so let's go check it out. We'll begin by adding a media and text block to our post. There are various ways to do this. I like to use the backslash method. It brings up an abbreviated list of the most frequently used blocks, and often you'll see the block that you're looking for in this list. If not, you can just start typing the name of the block and it will filter it even further. I see it here, so I'll bring it up. The media area is on the left side, and the content is on the right, and this is just the way it starts. You could switch those later. You can have the content on the left and the media on the right. So I usually upload my media before I do anything, but if you don't, you can upload it right here. If not, go directly to the media library and pick the image that you want. And then you can start typing the content. The default layout is this, with the image on the left and the content on the right. Initially, the columns are of equal width. They're vertically aligned in the middle with the image left, content right. Now, if I select this, I'm going to go to the list view, make sure I've got it selected, and you can switch to show the media on the right and the content on the left. And also you can align the top items, bottom, kind of, and the default is the regular content width. You can also go wide or full. So let's return to our default settings. I like to align in the middle mostly, and I'm going to switch it back to the image being on the left side. Now we'll start doing some modifications a little bit at a time. First off, I added a heading 4 block above the paragraph, then I styled it. I added some color and some padding to the bottom and a bottom border. So this is the result of all that. I've got the heading. I also increased the size a little bit for more drama, and you can see the settings here in the padding and that border. So we've got a nice little heading along with our paragraph. Next, I'm going to add what we call negative margins. This is a powerful feature in the dimensions section, and it allows us to move the text either left or right. Here we'll move it left so that it overlaps the image. So I'm going to select the H4 heading, and enable margins in the dimensions area. So let's make sure in our sidebar we've got the dimensions section right here, and on the options you want to enable the margins, and on the right I'm using an odd kind of number. It's in rem, but you can play around with what you're doing. whatever I put in the negative area to do the overlap, I put the positive version of it on the right side. So there's an equal, in other words, the content area width stays the same. Now, it's important to know that you cannot use the slider in the negative margin mode. You have to actually type in the minus sign with the number. And I just played around with it until I had what I thought was a nice overlap. But you play with the dimensions and see what you want to do. Another key to the margin part is to unlink the sides so that you can control top, bottom, left, right, all separately. So whatever I decide to use on the head, I applied as well to the text so that they continue to align together as a unit. The next thing I did was I increased the size of the image because it was, just a little small. So I select the media and text block itself, and in the right sidebar, you can increase the media width. It started out at 50% of the content width, and I just moved the slider until I got to, 70%. You can do whatever you want. I kept it stacked on mobile because after all, you want mobile responsiveness to look good with the text and image. And always remember your alt text. And then I adjusted the negative margins. So I went back to the heading and I tweaked them a little bit, and I decreased that negative margin slightly, and I changed the right margin so that border underneath the head stayed aligned with the head. So that was just my design aesthetic at work there. Now, this is attractive, but we're going to improve the legibility by adding a background color to the unit of text. And in order to do that, we have to first place the heading and paragraph inside a container and then apply a background color to the container. I'm going to use a group as my container, but you can achieve the same results using a columns block. So first I'm selecting those two items, and I go to my toolbar and group them. So now they're in a group, and that enables me to go to my style settings and apply a background color. All well and good, but we lost the overlap. You can see in the dimensions there is padding available. We can add some padding. But the margins are only top and bottom. We don't have left and right margins anymore, so we can't apply the negative margins. Okay, so we have to write our own custom code in the additional CSS section of the site editor, and then use that code in our page and post. Okay, now we'll head over to the additional CSS section of our site editor. We do that by looking at our left sidebar, hovering over Appearance, clicking on Editor, selecting Styles, and Additional CSS. I've tested this code, and now that I know it works, I can start using it. I take the first part right here, copy and paste it, and I'll use it in the appropriate section of the block I need it to be applied to on my post. We're back in the post. I'm selecting the media and text block, and look in the right sidebar in the block tab under Advanced, Additional CSS class. Boom, we've applied it, and now we've got the overlap, and we can save that draft. Now we'll switch the media so that it's on the right side, and I've selected the media and text block, made the switch, and then go to the advanced section and change the class so that it's the correct one, the one that is for the media on the right. I'm going to swing back to the additional CSS just for a second. In this particular theme, I had to make sure I included a Z index so that the text would still display above the image. You may have to do the same thing for depending on your theme. Now let's swing back to the post, and I think that's it. Let us know in the comments what approaches you've taken to getting content to overlap like this. I'm sure there are other ways. I know of one other way that I'll be writing about in the future, but I'm always curious to hear from other folks and see what cool methods they've been using. So thank you for your time. I hope this tutorial was of use to you, and hope you have a great day.